You know, I just figured it out. The movie's called Fallout because the whole thing is just a bunch of scenes of Tom Cruise falling out of things. I'm a genius. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello everybody, welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible Fallout Together. Now today's mission, should you choose to accept it, is to listen to this review, come up with one of your own, put it in the comments below, click the like button, and give some love to the subscribe button as well. As always, if you fail to do any of those things, the secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions. That's spy code for you're on your own. So last night I saw Mission Impossible Fallout. This is the 6th movie now, and it's not slowing down, baby. Mission Impossible is one of those very, very rare franchises that seems to just keep getting better in quality as they make more, rather than deteriorating in quality. That's a rare gift, man. When a franchise can pull that off successfully, that's you watch those movies and you pay your respect, because that is damn hard to do. Up until now, my favorite in the series has been Part 4. It was just the most balls to the wall fun out of all of them. But I think we have a new champion. After mulling it over and really kind of putting the pieces together in my head last night, I think it's safe to say that Fallout is my new favorite Mission Impossible movie. This has all the great hallmarks of a Mission Impossible film. It's got the stunts, it's got the action, it's got spy stuff, it's got masks. I love those masks, man. I never get tired of seeing a Mission Impossible character pull off a mask and be like, surprise! I wish I could do that. I wish I could just go and like impersonate somebody really, really well, and then at the last second be like, by the way, nope. And if you've been watching the series, you know, regularly up to this point, you know that Simon Pegg's character Benji really, really, really wants to be able to wear a mask in the field. In part 3, 4, and 5, he wanted to, and he never got the chance. Without spoiling anything, I will say this. In Fallout, he gets the chance. Is it one of the best scenes in the movie? It might be. The plot is pretty straightforward, actually, compared to some other movies in this franchise, like Part 1 or Part 5, where the plot was like, what is happening? No, the plot of Fallout is very, very straightforward and very old school. You know, somebody's got plutonium, and that's bad. You know, you can't just walk into a store and buy plutonium. Nobody should have that. And some bad people have it. And Tom Cruise and his homies need to get it to keep those bad people from making bombs, because that's what bad people do. When you give them an inch, they make a bomb. And these bad people have 3 inches. So the movie focuses on IMF scouring the world for these 3 plutonium cores and trying to keep them out of evil, greedy hands. And of course, that's much easier said than done, because the Syndicate, who were the villains from the last movie, they are still kicking. Even though they captured their leader, they're still around, and they are fervently, cultishly so, intent on, you know, keeping their plans moving and blowing up the world. Speaking of their leader, Solomon Lane, who's the character played by Sean Harris, it's nice to finally have a villain come back in this franchise. Mission Impossible is known for its stunts, and it's known for its, you know, fun action set pieces, but it's never been known for its villains. I couldn't tell you who the villains in 1 and 2 are. Philip Seymour Hoffman in 3 was just sort of just the slimy guy, you know, he wasn't really memorable. The villain in 4 was like, again, I couldn't tell you his name. And then in 5 we got Solomon Lane, and he was creepy, and, you know, he was pretty good. He was the best we'd had so far. I think they realized that, and in this one, they brought him back for more, and we got another villain as well. But that's kind of a spoiler. But of course, stunts is why we all come and sit down at these Mission Impossible tables, because the stunts are always something to be marveled at. And in the case of Fallout, again, I think they have outdone themselves here. This film was relentless. It is 2 hours and 27 minutes of just breathlessness, of things crashing and blowing up and rolling around and people falling out of vehicles, etc. There are 2 moments that we see in the trailer One of them being this car chase through Paris, where Tom Cruise is on a motorcycle there, and the other one being this stuff with helicopters. And if you've talked to anybody who has seen the movies, they'll probably tell you those scenes are like forever. They're going to be in my brain forever now, especially that helicopter one. That helicopter scene was one of the best action sequences I've ever seen in my life. And you know what? It's very simple. Don't go in there expecting like helicopter kung fu, whatever. It's not like that. It's a lot simpler than I'm making it sound. The tension and the stakes and everything that it was just building towards, and the characters involved. The climax of this film was a very Star Wars kind of climax. And what I mean by that is this. In movies like Return of the Jedi or The Phantom Menace, you don't have one climax. You have like 2 or 3 or 4 climaxes happening simultaneously in different areas. And they cut between them at just perfect moments to amp up both the action and the suspense. And in Mission Impossible Fallout, the same kind of thing happened. You had 3 climaxes, all taking place in roughly the same area, but with different characters doing different things. One of which was that helicopter scene. And the other 2 I'm not going to tell you, because spoilers are bad. But the intercut between those 3 climaxes was done beautifully. It was done with Star Wars-like precision, to the point where every time they cut, there was a split second of me being like, I'm upset because I want to see what was going to happen, but okay, good, because I really wanted to know what's happening with this person that they just cut to. So they perfected that whole system of multiple climaxes, and it was done so beautifully. No other MI movie has done that, to my knowledge. Again, there's very little of part 1 I can remember because it left that much impact on me. But the stunt work involved in these scenes was, of course, peerless. Peerless stunts. You're not going to get stunts like this anywhere else. And that Paris car chase scene was so breathtaking because it just kept on going. Every time you thought it was going to end, it faked you out and kept going. I think it might be, don't quote me on this because I could be wrong. It's been a minute since I've watched Blues Brothers, but I think this might be the longest car chase I've ever seen in a motion picture. And, you know, I'm not counting like race movies like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. I'm talking just straight up like a chase scene. I think it might be because it really has so many different stages to it. I mean, there's a part where, you know, the mission is to do this and then that's done. But the chase still goes, and now the mission is to do this, and that's done. But then the chase still goes because now this is happening, and it just keeps building and building on top of it and creating all these different layers. That's what I like in my stories. I like layers. I don't really like the whole simple through line. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be simple, but the simpler your plot is, the easier it is to be forgettable, I think. And this plot had all the stuff that you would expect from an MI plot at this point. It had masks, it had double crosses, it had triple crosses, it had luck crosses. I don't think it had that last one, but it had every other kind of cross imaginable, and it had people swapping identities and swapping microchips and swapping spit, because there's some kissing, I think. I think there's a kiss. Yeah, there was a kiss in this movie. It was kind of out of left field, too. It was a weird kiss. The reason before that Ghost Protocol was my favorite in the series was because it took all the Mission Impossible mainstays, all the things that they normally do in the franchise, and turned it on its head so that nothing was working. All their gadgets were failing, all their plots were failing, etc. Like, everything was breaking on them. And I loved that. I loved how they had to use their wits as opposed to their gadgets and gizmos, because at the end of the day it was up to them as people to get the job done. In Fallout, they do a not similar kind of thing, but they make a similar play, a similar twist on the formula, where it's not, you know, generic spy stuff, which, as much as I do like Rogue Nation and I like it a lot, I think Rogue Nation and even MI3 are just sort of well done generic spy stuff. Fallout is not generic. Fallout is saying, okay, here's what you're used to, here's the status quo of spy movies, and we're going to just add more layers on top of that until you can still see the status quo, but it's now become sort of translucent and you have to kind of ride this roller coaster across it to get to the end. From what I've heard in interviews with the cast and crew, there's no sign of slowing down. A Mission Impossible 7 is very likely on the near horizon. And while that makes me excited because I'm like, yay, more Mission Impossible, it also has me a little bit worried. Because for a franchise that has been so consistently on an upward swing, I'm worried that they reached a point in Fallout where it's like, how do you possibly top this movie now? Fallout had stakes bigger than any Mission Impossible before it. It had stakes that were both global, plutonium, and personal. So how does an MI7 top that and make the stakes even better and make the film even better and the stunts even bigger and grander? Like I said, this has the longest car chase scene I've ever seen in a movie. How do you top that? What, do you just do another one where the car chase is 20 seconds longer? I honestly don't know. Christopher McQuarrie and company, you are in the unenviable position of having to make a Mission Impossible 7 and try to top what you just did here, because what you just did here was phenomenal. But have you seen the movie? Let me know what you think, and let me know particularly what you think could possibly be done in a Mission Impossible 7 that could make it worth the while, because Fallout has just set the bar very, very high. We'll have to wait and see if 7 comes out, what it has in store. I'm not gonna lie, there are some characters in this movie who I really liked, who are probably not going to be in the next one because of stuff that happens to them in this one. There are some characters, particularly some newcomers to the series, who I was like, I love this character, but I'm sad because it doesn't look like I'll see them again. So 7 really has its work cut out for it as far as I'm concerned. But that has been Mission Impossible Fallout. Please let me know what you thought. That has been Thumbed Together. Of course, my name is Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for watching. As always, this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Seriously, turn off your computer. What are you waiting for? It's going to self-destruct. It's going to blow!